Okay, so on the theme of dogs and churches, the last trip I took of the summer was a day trip out to a church in Lujan, which is just crazy. I'd actually like seen this church when I was taking the bus back from Bergado, where I dropped my car off at the end of the Salamone trip. I was taking the bus back to the city, and I saw this church, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I'd kind of heard about Lujan before, but I'd never like seen it. But I couldn't get out of the bus to go check it out, so I was like, "Oh yeah, it's on the train route. I can take a trip out there." So I did that, and yeah, so it was a church, like mind-blowing as you'd expect, and like probably the biggest church in Buenos Aires province, I think, possibly in all of Argentina, I'm not sure, but absolutely massive as you can see. But what was probably most interesting is like, on the theme of dogs, in the church there were like dogs sleeping, dogs walking around, and like no one made a fuss. I mean, a church is like this sacred space supposedly, but like we've got like dogs just rolling around. It was really cool. I dug that. And then also in Lujan they have like a fairgrounds, because I think it's a pretty big tourist spot. Um, so they have this fairground that is there. I went there, and they have a cemetery as well, which seems to be a major draw for me, whether it's Chacarita, like I had mentioned in the old video before I went home to Carmen's wedding, which I'll talk about more later, or even on the Salamone trip, one of the biggest things he did, I said he did slaughterhouses, he did the municipal halls, and he did the cemeteries, so cemetery seems to be a thing. But sort of on the like religious theme or whatever, Lujan's interesting because it's like a pilgrimage. So people will walk. It's a long-standing tradition. People will walk 60 kilometers over 2 days to reach Lujan. It's like a pilgrimage because I don't know what the basilica, that's the name for the church. I don't know which. Maybe it's Our Lady of Lujan. I don't know, but it's a major religious symbol in Argentina. I think for the Catholics, I think that's the main thing there. As you can tell, I might be all spiritual and mythological and this stuff, but the actual like real religions and knowing which is which, it's not something I know too much about. Anyway, so that was Lujan. That was super cool. Like, other than going, I said I went to Chascomús, I went to Zárate, I went to Campo de Mayo, did this crazy Salamone loop. Right now I'm telling you about Lujan. Well, other than that, I also went to La Plata, I went to Moron, and a couple of other places that were close by as well. But Lujan kind of signaled like the end of the summer. So we're heading now into the 2018 school year. It's like February, March, something like that, maybe April. And we unfortunately lost like two of our major crew members from the year before. Martin, who's the son of IH, he moved to the other international house school in Buenos Aires. His dad owns that school to become the director. And Laura had to go back to Australia. So yeah, it was a different scene for sure, but I mean things are still progressing pretty well, and obviously like in terms of teaching, my routine was fairly similar, and I've talked more about my summer routine, but my routine during the school year is usually in the mornings or midday I'll be in Microcentro, the center of the city, teaching business classes, and then I'll catch a subway out to Belgrano, where our school is. It's sort of in the northern part of the city, really nice neighborhood, and I'll teach in the institute then the evenings, usually 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock, and in downtown with the business classes, it's all adults. For me, other than my first year teaching, it is mainly one-on-one classes, not group classes, and I have private classes down there as well. But usually one-on-one, and then when I come to the Institute, International House, it's group classes, whether it's teenagers or adults. And I really enjoy both. I mean, the adults are interesting too, because sometimes after class, we'll go out for drinks or whatever, so that's kind of cool too. But no, I mean, both settings are great. And for me, like I said, so sometimes after class for the adults, we go for something to drink. But for me, normally, like, class finishes at 9. And everybody in Argentina is like total vampire, at least in Buenos Aires. So they eat dinner sometimes. Average dinner time in Argentina, I would say, is at 10 o'clock. And a lot of times people don't eat to 11, 11:30. And for me, being a Canadian dude and an athlete, and like the way I was viewed healthy eating habits in terms of time, it's like dinner's at 6, dinner's done before 7, that kind of thing, which is not what's happening in Argentina. Definitely not Buenos Aires. So I'd finish class at 9, and my mission was like get straight to somewhere where you can eat. Because if I would have taken the subway home, would have cooked, I literally wouldn't have been eating till 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night. So basically I would get out of the school and I'd go straight to like, not really a fast food, but a cheap restaurant. And I would do that Mondays to Thursdays, because that's our teaching week right there. And then Friday, it's only usually a half day so I could cook, whatever, right? But yeah, it was like pretty much just basic like carbs and meat, carbs and protein, that's it. My only vegetable and fruit intake, other than maybe bananas, was Subway. I would eat Subway sandwiches twice a week. And so like your vegetables they put in Subway sandwiches, like tomatoes, onions, pickles, cucumber, all that stuff, carrots, whatever they had there. That was like the limit of my vegetable and fruit intake, like in Buenos Aires. So because of that, like more carb, protein-based diet, my stomach was fairly stabilized, but I definitely wasn't like increasing my flora and fauna. And I think as a consequence, I was like super duper skinny when I was in Buenos Aires. I don't think I could ever get over 130. Whereas I got home to Canada and like, I mean, I'll tell you when I get to those videos, but I gained like 10 pounds in 3 weeks, like that. So anyway, so I was really skinny there, and I had a little bit more diversity to my meals when my brother and sister visited, and when my parents visited, just because they'd want to go to like different restaurants or whatever. But I mean, Argentina's pretty much carnivore, like meat and bread. Like the asado, the barbecue is like their thing. They love meat. So like even when my brother and sister visited, I mean that was a big thing, and my parents visited the same thing, like a lot of meat, whatever, right? So slightly more diverse, but total carnivore mode.